So, hi Todd, thanks for joining me.
Oh, Tim, great to be here. It's a beautiful day in California.
Yeah, it's a pretty good day here in London today as well, actually. We're having a heat wave for another week.
Oh, wow. Wow. You know, it's been kind of a crazy thing here with the fires, but they are getting under control and we're back to, looks like we're about to be back to business as usual, COVID style.
Yeah. So guys that are watching, obviously, as you know, I'm interviewing the speakers and exhibitors so that you guys can understand what they're about and why I've invited them to the summit. So obviously with Dry Farm Wines being the only brand, or should I say, company that I buy wine from anywhere because of, well, all the benefits that you'll find out in a minute. They're also a sponsor of ours, and Todd is going to be speaking about biodynamic, organic, and well, I call it hangover-free wine, but I don't think we're officially allowed to call it that. So let's not. But anyway, so Todd, you're obviously the founder and whatnot. So just tell us from the man himself, like, what is Dry Farm Wines, and how do you guys differ with the wines that you sell compared to everyone else?
Well, you know, the regulations are a little bit different in the EU than they are here, but they're very similar. And so we sell what are called natural wines. And that's a very confusing term to consumers because when I say that I only drink and sell natural wines, they're like, aren't all wines natural? Well, they're not. And here's the reason why. So the wine industry in the United States, the FDA, which is the Federal Drug Administration, which regulates food and drug in the United States, the FDA in the United States approves 76 additives that can be used in winemaking, and these wine additives are commonly found in conventional wines. And so in the EU, there are 56 additives. So there's a few less. Many of them are natural, but some of them are quite toxic, right? So that can be, now consumers don't know about these additives because there's no contents labeling on wine bottles. So, and that's not an accident. In the United States, the wine lobby here spends a lot of money in Washington, D.C. to keep contents labeling off of wine. In addition, there's no nutritional information on wine either, so you don't know how much sugar is in it or its calorie content or anything else about it. So that leaves a lot of guessing out there. So we created a company that has a certification process that certifies wines to our purity standards. And those standards are quite high. So it must be a natural wine, first of all. And let me tell you what the difference between natural and conventional wine is. First of all, natural wine is additive free. Natural wine is also always farmed organically or biodynamically. And biodynamic farming, I'd like to describe, is a prescriptive form, an advanced form of organic farming. Natural wines are always fermented with wild native yeast. See, in the vineyard, yeast gathers on the skin of the grape naturally through the air. But conventional winemakers kill that yeast and then inoculate the juice with a genetically modified lab cultured yeast, right? We don't know what that means from a health point of view. What we do know is when you drink natural wines, you just feel better, right? And so our certification process, there's no international certification for natural wines, but Dry Farm Wines does have a certification. So let's talk about that for a moment. So all of our wines are dry farmed. In the US, irrigation is almost ubiquitous. More than 99% of vineyards in the United States are irrigated. So a whole bunch of problems with irrigation, right?
What is irrigation, just for the layman, or should I say people that don't understand, what would you say irrigation is specifically?
Well, irrigation is bad for the planet, wastes a lot of water, right? It also makes for a weaker vine, right? And a lower polyphenol in the fruit, which is the healthy compounds found in wine. So an irrigated grapevine has a root ball about 3 feet in diameter, about 3 feet or 4 feet deep, where an unirrigated grapevine at maturity can have root structure that can be 20 or 30 feet deep, right? Which is, 10 meters, right? And so when a grapevine struggles, you have hormesis. I mean, when the vine struggles, you have a higher quality of fruit, which is why it's illegal in most of Europe to irrigate, right? So Europeans who've been growing wines for over 3,000 years know what we know. The moment you irrigate a grapevine, you fundamentally change the quality of the fruit. And so it's great. So irrigation is used because of money. Irrigation is cheaper to farm. It produces a higher yield, and it produces fruit that weighs more. It might not surprise you when you fill a berry with water, it weighs more, right? Fruit is sold by the ton. So you irrigate for cheaper farming and heavier fruit. That's the long and the short of it, right? But so anyway, so first of all, dry farmed, which means no irrigation, also the name of our company. Number two, sugar-free. We do lab testing on every wine, so we certify that it's sugar-free. Number three, lower alcohol. We don't sell any wines over 12.5% alcohol, and as low as 7%. Additive-free, right? And so in combination, this also makes them keto-friendly or paleo-friendly because they're sugar-free, right? So anyway, also just reducing alcohol makes a big difference in wine. Not only does it make a difference in how it tastes, we think it tastes better with lower alcohol, but it makes a big impact on how you feel, right? And also, it surprises a lot of people to hear me say, because they're like, oh, the wine guy is selling wine, to hear me say the following: alcohol is a very dangerous neurotoxin, right? And it ruins millions of lives a year. And so it's something we need to be careful with. We need to think about. The fact is, I like wine. I want to drink wine. I'm going to drink wine, right? And so I want to have some regulation and some dosage to understand, what I'm putting in my body. And I also want to know that it's organic or biodynamic, that it's additive free. I don't want to be drinking toxins, right? The problem with this whole wine thing is transparency, right? So we would be happy just to have a contents label, right? So if you decide to drink things like dimethyl dicarbonate or ammonia phosphate, these are approved additives used in winemaking. If you want to drink glyphosate, then I think you should make that decision, right? I think you should have the transparency to know what's in the bottle, right? With a rigorous lab test and also compliance standards. But none of that exists, right? The only way you know what you're drinking in the bottle, if you get it from us, we've certified it. And, unlike a lot of people in the health and wellness space that are sort of spending some spin, we walk the walk. I mean, we live a ketogenic lifestyle. You know us. We are extremely and fanatically committed to the way we live and a way of life, right? So that's sort of, I think the reason that, we were talking about before we started recording, we did 120 something worldwide events last year, right? Biohacking events, performance events all over the world, including your event in London. And we, so that gives us a chance for people like you and other people inside the health community and the wellness community to know us and to know who we are, right? And to know our values, to meet our people, right? And see that we live a committed biohacking lifestyle just like you do, right? Yeah. And so that's very helpful, when you can see the people behind the brand, right? And you know what they represent, it gives you a lot more confidence in what they say.
Well, it's like going to a doctor that's overweight and him giving dietary advice. It's like, or going to a doctor that smokes and tells you not to smoke because it's bad for your health. It's like you unfortunately, we do judge, and it's like, it's the same. I agree. That's one thing about you guys. You all live the life and really walk it. I mean, I think the first time was at the paleo event, and everyone was going on about dry farm wine so much. Actually, it was another event I went to, but everyone's super healthy. And it's like some people, even when I spoke to Ben Greenfield once, he goes, "This is the only wine I drink." And he's like, these guys are like absolutely awesome. And it's really funny because you do say that, and it's like, yeah, it's really interesting how particularly you guys are about this stuff. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons that we've got such resounding endorsements and enthusiasm around what we do is because of who we are, right? And that it's easy to have confidence in our message of purity and health and our message of commitment and trust and confidence when you meet us. And you can see that we live the lifestyle that we promote, right? And that's just not always true, as you know, inside the space.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to jump onto that, then I guess onto the next point, is like the reason why I originally invited you guys is because obviously I'd experienced you guys in Croatia at the baby bathwater event, and you and David were pouring wines there. I didn't realize you guys were the founders of this awesome wine. And the next morning, no one had a single hangover from any of this wine. It's just like it was a new concept to me. And then again at Paleo FX as well, it was like, again, I don't usually drink, but I was told it's the good stuff. And I didn't have a hangover again. And I usually get wicked hangovers, and I get such headaches from red wine specifically.
For sure.
Which is quite
I do too. Everyone does.
And you know, several times in a row, I didn't get a headache, and I felt amazing. I actually felt hydrated the next day, which sounds ridiculous when you're drinking alcohol to wake up hydrated. And I think the things that resonated with me mostly were, and I remember hearing you talking about this on Ben Greenfield's podcast once, is about several things, is that the roots are significantly deeper on the wines, on the grapes that you buy, which means that they draw up the minerals from the rocks below, which means that they're higher mineral content grapes. And obviously minerals are hydrating electrolytes. It's obviously not irrigated, so it's got more of the natural waters in there with less chemicals. And then because of the lower sugars, the lower sugar and the lower chemicals means it's not so toxic on the liver. And then keeping the alcohol, I think, under 12.5% is the sweet spot. And then you don't get the hangover because it's not toxic on the liver. It's not the sugar competing with it, and it's high in mineral content, and it tastes bloody amazing, like wine should do. And so for me, it was like when I heard that and tried it and actually realized that it did work, that's really what sold me on the brand. I hope that's a good snapshot of my takeaway, and for the followers, so they can really understand why I drink it. Because a lot of people push back and say, oh, you drink alcohol, you're not a real biohacker. So, well, actually, no, a biohacker.
That's not true.
Yeah,
lots of biohackers drink alcohol.
Biohacking is reversing the damage from technology or bad environment using technology or clean environment. And so if you're going to drink, and we're not just here to be super healthy the whole time, we are here to live as well. And most people like getting tipsy or having a drink from time to time. I don't do it often, but when I do, it's the good stuff. It's either it's either dry farm wines, or it is actually very clean gin with sparkling water. That's all I do. And I actually did a post on Instagram about it a few months ago, which was really, really popular one, because people ask all the time about what my thoughts are on drinking. So that's exactly why I invited you guys to exhibit or sponsor as well, and why I really wanted you to speak about this at the next one specifically, because other things that resonated with me is hearing about the morning ritual with your team at work, and being a real teamwork and more like a family, and meditating together and practicing appreciation and all of these things. It's just the type of thing that we try to have our summit, even though we're very remote with our team. It really resonated with me. And so these things all combined together is why I really wanted you to speak specifically about this and the journey as well. So I think, how do you think, Todd, that dry farm wines has been received and then accepted and then consumed by people, you know, in the health space and whatnot? Because I know there's some celebrities which are, you know, might be worth you saying a few of the people that are in the media talking about how amazing this wine is as well. So it'd be really interesting.
Well, I mean, it's been, you know, we've been featured we've been featured everywhere. We were in over 100 major news publications last year, including a full page in Oprah magazine, Bloomberg, Forbes. We've been featured hundreds of times and endorsed by thousands of health leaders. We appeared in more than 50 books on health and performance last year. So it's been we have a lot of celebrities, right? But that's not as important to us. It's the doctors, it's the health leaders, it's the people who care about our mission and are passionate about the new living wellness, are passionate about increasing health span in addition to lifespan, who are passionate about research and experimentation and biohacking and, which is the art and science, because much of biohacking just doesn't have solid science around it other than anecdotal evidence, by thousands of people, right? These people who really make it their life's mission to improve the lives of others are the people we care most about. I mean, the celebrities are nice. They have, millions and millions of followers, and that of course helps us reach millions of people. But I really take my hat off to the people on the front line like you and others, thousands of other influencers and health fanatics who really want to make a difference in the world, right? And like your Health Optimization Summit in London last year, although it was the inaugural event, it was super packed, right? I was like, had a global audience. I think we brought 15 people from the United States, 10 or 15 people. I'm not sure how many people came over, but there were quite a few. And so we, and it was just a resounding success in terms of the impact that you're able to have and the kind of audience that you're reaching. So, so for us, that's the really, really vital thing, is to support people who are on the ground making a difference in how people live.
Yeah, I agree. It was awesome. Last year obviously went down well. We had 1,200 people in year one. That's
we go to a lot of conferences. That's a remarkable turnout, particularly for year one.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I had a bit of help from my friends with marketing and shouting around it, and like guys like you supporting me and believing in the vision in year one. So, which is why it happened so big. And I was very ballsy, but I just felt like it was something I had to do. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun as a result. So,
we're looking forward to returning.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying a glass with you again.
Nice.
So, I mean, I've had a few questions come in actually so we posted that on Instagram and people have DM'd us some questions that we can ask you.
Sure.
But so what's the biggest difference between dry farm wine and normal wines was the first one, but I think we've already covered that. But I mean, is there anything you'd like to add before I move on to the next one? If there's anything that specifically stands out over all the other wines?
No, I think what we've covered, just this natural wine that is lab tested for purity and is lower in alcohol, which is a huge thing. It's just you cannot underestimate the value of just drinking lower alcohol.
It's actually really funny because whenever you go to, like, I was in a restaurant a while ago before lockdown, and someone said, what wines have you got? And the waiter said a few of them, and he said, oh yeah, and this one's say 14%. And he went, oh, amazing, okay, as if higher was better. And I was just thinking,
not for your health.
I mean, it's like,
not for how you feel.
I know, right? It's insane. It's yet like, for instance, when you go to a restaurant, it says corn-fed, as if corn-fed is a good thing. We know grass-fed to being good, but it's almost like their marketing is like the bigger number equals better. It doesn't. I completely agree. So we've already covered the next one, and and I mean, obviously it contains alcohol, and this is a question that someone said is, how can that be healthy? But I mean, I'd like to just cover this one because I think a lot of biohackers can become so damn extreme and so damn high in stress hormones that they don't get to enjoy life. And as a result, they're always looking out for threats. They're not necessarily enjoying life. And as a result, they don't have as good health as they should do. So when they do switch off a bit and relax and have a drink, they actually get into parasympathetic mode instead of always being in sympathetic and looking out for these threats. And actually their health starts flourishing as a result. But the short-term thought is, well, actually it's having alcohol, so it's not good for you. But sometimes one step back to have 2 steps forwards is a win. And I can speak personally for that because I didn't drink for 2 years. And then I remember the first time I drank again, I was just like, oh, I remember that feeling. This is like, I switched off for the first time. And so I think that a little of the poison can be good from time to time, as long as it's good poison.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, I think that pretty much covers everything. I mean, at the moment, you guys aren't retailing in the UK. You're absolutely huge in the States. You're like the success story of the health space, in all honesty. It's dry farm wines everywhere, it seems. Everyone seems to be talking about it. I know you've grown massively year on year. I don't know if we can go into those details or not, but I mean, it's a phenomenon in terms of everyone seems to be talking about it. And I think obviously the result is people don't feel crap from it and they get.
Yeah, we're helping a lot of people. We're talking about, post-COVID, when we're talking about potentially opening up Europe for shipping, and we're going to be opening Canada. So so stay tuned. We may be coming to Europe for spreading some wine around.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing, I tell you. I've had a few of our media, the UK media, asking me about it and wanting to know more about it, but obviously they can't get hold of it yet. So it's interesting. So, okay. So, well, thanks very much for your time today, Todd. I'm really looking forward to seeing you face to face again.
It's going to be a great time. I appreciate you having me on. It's great to see you. It's the first time I've seen you in a while. You were in the U.S. not too long ago and stayed at our place at the beach in Santa Monica, and in Southern California.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It was awesome. It's lovely stay just before everything changed.
Yeah, just in the beginning. So I'll look forward to seeing you. It is great to see you today, and thanks for having me on.
So where can everyone find out more just about dry farm wines and whatnot before we go? Is it dryfarmwines.com, I think, isn't it?
It is dryfarmwines.com. We're Dry Farm Wines on all social media.
Yes. Okay, cool. So guys, head over to Instagram and check out Dry Farm Wines there, and also dryfarmwines.com. And then watch this space to meet Todd when he speaks at the next Health Optimisation Summit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to return to London.
Yeah, thanks for today, Todd, and I look forward to seeing you soon.